Capitol, they're scheming in the night, selling out our freedoms for a pocket full of spite. From the border to the heartland, the wolves are at the door, twisting truth and tearing down what our fathers fought before. But I'm a patriot source, standing tall and true, with a Bible in my hand and old glory flying blue. Ain't apologizing for loving this land. We'll fight the forces of evil with fire in our stand. God bless the USA, we'll never back down. Patriots for freedom, wearing that crown.
Man, that song is so good. I love that song. I love it. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. This is the Patriot Source podcast, as you know, on the Patriot Source Network. We got SK over here to my left or right. I don't really know what the orientation is on your view, but she's next to me. And then NomDePlume down below. How was your all's weekend, SK? Nom? I know Nom was busy building a fence, which sounds
I'm
awful.
exhausted. I am exhausted, and it's not done yet.
You guys, just for the record, PatriotDad's always talking about how Nom is so much bigger than him and how fat he is and blah, blah, blah.
What?
We got sent shirtless pictures of him building a fence, and he's not fat at all.
I
So
didn't say
No.
he's fat.
maybe PatriotDad just needs to hit the gym.
I did not say he's fat. He's not
PatriotDad
fat.
does need to hit the gym. No.
PatriotDad
No.
does the best that he
You
can.
know I
with
love
the
giving you crap,
incredibly busy
PatriotDad.
schedule that he has.
The comments are going to be filled with people angry that I'm giving you crap.
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it. This may be the one time you actually deserve it.
Hey, I'm not giving you crap, I don't like you. Okay.
That's true. Oh, that's a good point. Good point. I spent a good part of the day yesterday out in the cold up here in the Northern Command in Ohio, trying to unseize a disc brake on a trailer. Like, this is not stuff that we should have to deal with. Trailers should just work the way they're supposed to. But we've got a lot to talk about today. A lot.
Wait, what happened this weekend? I was busy. What went on?
Well, Candace Owens got absolutely dog stomped and wrecked and dragged across the internet, and it's still going on, by the way.
I don't know if it's true, but I saw someone say that Laura Loomer sent Candace a gaydar.
Look, I made a video this morning, and by the way, did you guys see that Laura Loomer actually reposted my video? I know it's silly, but I thought it was pretty cool.
She did?
Yeah, she did. She commented on it. She's like, "This is an amazing summary of what happened," because it was about a 4.5-minute summary of the absolute ass whipping that Candace Owens took this weekend. And I hope Patriot Mom's not listening, because I promise I won't use any foul language the rest of the show. But she got her butt stomped into tomorrow this weekend. Like, there's two
Even
things.
Mrs. Nom was telling me about it. She was reading it, and I'm like, oh.
No,
and I'm laying there
listen.
half asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great too, because Candace Owens, that I've seen anyway, and to be fair, I haven't been on hardly at all. But to be fair, I haven't seen her refute any of the claims, other than claiming that the picture of her and her husband and some guy like being extremely close and looking all cuddly is AI. Other than that, I haven't seen her refute any of the claims that Laura Loomer
That's
has made.
Milo Yiannopoulos, and that is not an AI photo. That photo has been around for a very long time.
Very long time. Now, before we jump into this topic, we had one of our back office fellows, as you guys know, Clipmaster Jake, reached out yesterday and suggested that we take just a second before we start the show. And by the way, folks, I love doing this kind of stuff. So if you have prayer requests, share them, and we will try to prioritize them, because this is a huge part of what I think is important. And I know this panel probably agrees that if we've got people in our P0, P1 audience and they need prayer, then we're going to pause and we're going to do it. So we're going to do this here. SK, what's up?
Yeah, there's a whole channel in the Discord for prayer requests. You can go into the Discord, and if you have prayer requests, you can put them in there. It's been there for like 18 months.
Well, I promise you guys all, as we do this real quick, I will stuff the spirit of long prayer as deep down inside as I possibly can, and we will pray quickly over the P1s and P0s in the audience that need prayer right now. So thank you, Clipmaster Jake, and those of you guys who would be willing to join me. I would appreciate it. Father, I thank you in the name of Jesus that we lift up those people in our audience that need prayer right now. Father, we thank you that Patriot Vicky's husband and the recent diagnosis he received, Lord, we just declare healing over his entire body from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. Lord, we call that diagnosis a lie in Jesus' name. We declare him whole, healthy, and strong. And Lord, we know that we've been lifting up Doxy Mommy's daughter to you in the name of Jesus as they wait for test results. Father, I thank you that you remove all fear, all anxiety, all trepidation, all concern about what the future looks like, Father, and that you give them a supernatural covering of peace in the name of Jesus, Father. And we just speak to those test results and we command them to be positive, to be of good health in Jesus' name. And Lord, we lift up Sally to you also. And we declare that all medical issues that she's suffering from in the name of Jesus, Father, that your healing anointment flow across her body from the top of her head to the bottom of her feet. And of course, Lord, we lift up Kay Posto as she goes back to work. And Father, we know all of the anxiety and stress that comes with that. Lord, we just praise you and we thank you that you bring peace and that you bring wholeness and that you bring provision into her life. In Jesus' name, amen. Now let the show start.
Amen.
The long prayer spirit won.
No, that was quick. I was four people.
For PatriotDad, that
Bro,
was super short.
Bro. I have
My
been in
goodness.
prayer meetings before where one person gets prayed for like 45 minutes. And look, I love a good long prayer, but after about 4 or 5 minutes, I'm like, come on, dude, you said it all. Let's move. Jesus does not need you to pray for 45 minutes over this thing because he can do it in a heartbeat. Anyway.
All right. I've got real quick. So I don't know if you guys can see this little contraption over here, this light. For you guys on the podcast, on the stream, is that flashing or is that clear?
Yeah, it's definitely flashing.
Because to me, it's flashing and it's green, but it's not flashing behind me. So
it's because of the camera.
Yeah, the frames and all that stuff. It's because of the camera.
Another view of one. Look at this.
Oh wait, where's mine?
So freaking cool, guys. So
look at that.
The Grid made these for us. He shipped them to everybody.
Look, it changes colors. Look, it's blue. I can do like a rainbow one. I can do green. Look at that. Check that out. Look at that. Now I don't.
Fantastic.
Badass.
It's pretty sweet.
Is my microphone too loud now that you guys made me turn it up?
Nope.
No, you're good.
Nope.
You're good.
So I'm sorry it's flashing in the background, but it looks freaking cool sitting there. Thank you, Guarding the Grid. Thank you, back office fellows. You guys are killing it, keeping us sane.
Yep. All right, so let's get to the content because we've got a lot. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on the dragging that Candace Owens experienced this weekend because it's still going on. And quite honestly, I think everybody on the planet already knows what happened. But it does make sense for us to maybe kind of highlight where the funny parts come in because we like to make fun of people. And when Candace Owens and her cult of demon slot propagandists had to deal with the fact that she is the biggest hypocrite on the planet, well, it didn't go very well. We got that. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've started to feel like, I don't know, the globalists are getting very nervous.
Yes, that's
very
clear.
nervous.
It's panic.
Panic is a really good word. There's this sense of panic starting to set in. And I think that we were expected to be the ones who are operating in panic. You know, they used to be able to control the media narrative pretty easily through just a couple of outlets. They used to be able to just write scripts and they would convince the whole of the American people that what they needed you to know is true, is in fact true when it's not. That doesn't work anymore. And I think the panic that they're experiencing is because they're seeing that poll results or poll numbers don't exactly support what they're hoping for. And there is an absolute onslaught going on right now. They are trying to take out every single member of Donald Trump's most effective cabinet probably in presidential history. I don't think I've seen a cabinet operate as well as the Trump administration's cabinet is operating right now. They're going after JD Vance. They're going after Pete Hegseth. They're going after RFK Jr. And of course, the lunatics in the FAGA, the faking gay ass wannabe America First crowd are just latching on to some of the dumbest, most absurd conspiracy theories that you can possibly imagine. And to me, it spells panic. So we're going to spend a few minutes walking through some of what I'm seeing. And I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing, but I do think there's a reason why they're panicked. And I don't know if it's just kind of the common consensus. I have a video for you guys that I want to share, but it's going to come at the very end of the show. I hate to tease you with it, but we're going to tease you with it because you have to see this video that came out recently of a whistleblower who was recording some behavior that I think is probably the genesis of why they're so worried, because they literally got caught on tape cheating. That's what they got caught doing. And now it's starting to make the rounds around social media. And I think with what we're seeing in the Southern Florida criminal cases down there, the fact that they just hired Joe Genova as the counsel to the grand jury or something along those lines. I mean, they're not playing around down in Southern Florida. We got John Solomon talking about it. We have, I mean, also shoot, we just had a 900-foot cargo tanker from Iran try to break through the barricade and literally got the hull shot up. That was awesome.
Well, the interesting part is what may be on that ship, the Tuska, when President Trump posted, he said, yeah, we're just going to take a look around and see what's on that boat, aren't we?
So we'll spend a few minutes talking about that too. But let's start with the Candyland cult, who just got dragged all over the place this weekend. Now, I don't know if I could do just a 5-10 minute segment on this and do it justice. So I'm just going to quickly kind of run through what happened. There's two things in this world, if you interact in the social media ecosystem, that you never, ever want to happen to you. Two. There's probably more, but the top two. Number one, you do not ever want to get the hello tweet from Data Republican. You don't want that.
That's facts. That is actual facts.
You don't. That is that means you're going to have a very bad day if you wake up and you see Data Republican says hello, whoever you are, and enlist your name, because you're getting ready to have your whole rear end opened wide up for the world to see. And the second thing that you don't
like Candace's husband. Oh,
that's right. That's right. Yeah. And the second thing that you don't want to do is you don't ever want to be Loomered. Now, you can say whatever you want about Laura Loomer. I'm sure there's ample reasons why people dislike her. But one thing you cannot do is you cannot look at the receipts that woman presents people and say that she doesn't know what she's doing and that she's full of crap, because she absolutely ripped wide open the Candace Owens grift this weekend. And I think she went a little bit further. She confirmed a few things that I think a lot of us have thought for a long time. So let's start with, do we have anything? I don't know if we have actual posts from her, do we?
From who? From Laura Loomer? We've got this one. We've got George Farmer in the gun.
Okay. I'm gonna need to put my
Hey, you guys, remember when I told you about all this and I was like, but I'm not gonna post any of it because I don't want to get sued. Remember that? I was just wondering, was that months ago?
That's the 70-some page dossier that you sent us that we've been kind of sitting on.
Way before that. It was way before that.
Okay, got it. I had to put my glasses on so I can see this stuff. So this is actually one of the later tweets that she sent out, but I think this one is pretty illustrative, because this is what happened when Candace ignored her for a while, and yet the bot army continued to press the issue. So Laura Loomer went just a little bit deeper. She started actually exposing some of the truth around the criminal scenario that played out earlier in Tennessee a couple years ago. And she was talking about, there is something Candace really doesn't want people knowing about, and it's the gun. When your husband, George Farmer, allegedly got busted on charges of possession of a firearm when he was allegedly arrested for a DUI and fleeing the scene of a crash as a green card holder, was he strapping a sissy little 22 Derringer in his panties? Or was he carrying something a real man would carry? Also, your husband was not a U.S. citizen when this allegedly happened.
Bring it back.
George became a U.S. citizen on March 22nd, 2025. So how was he allegedly in possession of a firearm and carrying one at the time of his alleged arrest for DUI on 8/10/2023 if he wasn't a U.S. citizen? Did he disclose this on his
We're just asking
citizenship
questions.
application?
Uh-oh.
So wait, is she making the allegation that George Farmer was carrying a firearm illegally as a green card holder and then possibly didn't disclose that on his citizenship application?
She definitely
Well,
is.
she's also making the claim that he got a DUI.
Well, we knew that.
Well,
Actually, Candace admitted that. She finally
and
acknowledged
and fled the scene of a crash as a green card holder.
When did she acknowledge
Tonight.
that and admit that? Oh,
I think she admitted that tonight.
Documents actually do say that he was carrying a firearm. So busted.
Yeah, I think she was finally.
He could be denaturalized. He could be denaturalized now.
I think that's kind of the point. But that wasn't the fun part. No. The fun part was when she started using the tweets from Milo Yiannopoulos accusing George Farmer of having a thing for dudes. Because the way this all started, if you remember, is Candace Owens started going after her, basically saying that she's crazy. She's not allowed to carry a firearm because she's mentally unstable. And Candace used an article written by Milo Yiannopoulos in the past, alleging that Laura Loomer was nuts. So Laura Loomer said, oh, really? Well, let me show you what I got. And then started pulling up old tweets of Milo Yiannopoulos, who, by the way, is one of Candace Owens, oddly enough, one of Candace Owens' biggest supporters and defenders on X today. I mean,
I'm kind of wondering, though. I think he might have turned and like been supporting her kind of like on purpose. I feel like
Listen, Milo has been on every side of every issue for you guys. You guys have to remember Milo Yiannopoulos from back in the early
days,
Facebook right?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, of course.
He's been on every side of every issue, especially since he's come back. When Charlie was assassinated and Charlie was killed, everybody's like, "Oh, now you get Milo. You didn't want Milo." No, because I think PatriotDad, even you were like, "Hold on."
I did. I said this will be interesting, but you may not like this guy.
Yeah, this guy's a lot. And if you've been around long enough, you know who he is. He is not a stable person. He is a very, very unstable person.
No. So let's pull up Milo 1.
As somebody in the comments said, she did not admit DUI, only an accident.
That may be right. I don't watch her show. I thought I'd read on X that she admitted it. And maybe she did just admit that there was an accident, but did not acknowledge the DUI, which wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. All right. So here's one of the first shots across the bow that my jaw about hit the floor when I saw this. So this is Milo, a little less than a year and a half ago. Candace is a wealthy woman who could have done anything and had anything. Her marriage made almost anything possible for her, but she has a fatal flaw that resurfaces anytime she's operating without strong male oversight. She doesn't know she's stupid. And then the one down at the bottom is the one that I think most people saw and were just like, holy moly. Let me tell you something, Candace Owens. Your husband is getting plunged. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I've never heard it referred to that. Referred to like that. That's
well, go to the next one, Milo 2. So here he is again.
I'm just gonna stay muted.
Stay muted, SK. It's probably best.
I want to make something clear, Candace. When I said your husband was gay, I wasn't looking at him. I was looking at you. Or it's disgraceful that Candace thinks she has a, I'm not going to use that word live, pass simply because her husband is a Nancy boy. I mean, when I think of the work I had to put in for that thing. So this is Candace Owens'
comment deserves a spot on the screen.
Where is it? His toilet is clogged? That one?
Yes, that's probably what he meant. Yeah. Somebody asked the other day, someone asked earlier today, they're like, I wonder why Milo Yiannopoulos finally suddenly is becoming a big Candace Owens defender. I'm like, maybe he actually got into George's pants after all. I don't know. Maybe there is some type of relationship opened up there. I have no idea. But that's not the biggest part. The thing that I think was the absolute loyalty test for the Candace Owens cult that happened this weekend. Because if you remember correctly, Candace Owens has basically spent the last 7 months trying to create the narrative that Israel is the world's biggest demonic entity on the planet, full of Satanists, just awful, horrible people, are probably, at least according to her, somehow involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, totally own the entire United States of America, owns Donald Trump from one end to the other, drags him around by his nose. This is the narrative that Candace Owens has been creating.
You can't go anywhere on X without being called a Jew lover if you praise
Support.
President Trump. I mean,
Exactly.
and it's because of Candace, it's because of Fuentes, it's because all of the faggots. You guys know who we're talking about, all of them. You can't function on social media without their little bot swarm army, sock puppet clowns. I've been called a Jew.
Yes.
Multiple times.
More times in the last 6 months than I have in my entire freaking life.
I mean,
but I thought about trolling them and just getting out my Star of David necklace and wearing it just to like really throw them off.
She's not accusing of killing Charlie.
The only person
she's not accusing her husband.
Well, she's also not accusing Tyler Robinson, who the one that's sitting in jail under.
Speaking of Tyler Robinson, we did do a victory lap on that evidence. It's not been a good week for the cult.
But this is what makes it really, really bad for them. All right. So you have to understand that a cult requires total loyalty and complete obedience to the narrative. You have to be 100% all in loyal to the demon cult queen in order for the cult to work. Because you may remember, actually, let's do this. You may remember, I'm going to pull this up in a second, but you may remember when Candace Owens, before she got into the Charlie Kirk assassination, she spent a couple months basically accusing the French president's wife of being a man. Now, all of her cult followers will try to convince you that there's an enormous amount of evidence out there. But,
worse than that.
Oh, no. Yeah. And a P3D.
Well, it's even worse than that. If I am not mistaken, I am almost certain that the claim was Brigitte Macron was born a man and was actually something, whatever. What's the dude's name? Macron? What's his first name?
Emmanuel. Yeah.
Emmanuel Macron's, he was actually Macron's father, and then he transitioned, and now he's married to his father. And the teacher, I don't know.
Yeah. He's a teacher.
But
yeah, see, that's the thing is you don't know, because the line of thought on how she gets from point A to point B is intentionally so confusing that you'll never actually get to the point.
No, not never. On the next episode, PatriotDad, tune in tomorrow.
No, I'm not tuning in tomorrow.
And then tomorrow, we're going to go a totally different direction and completely forget we said that
anymore. Well, as a result of that, just wackadoodle true crime episodes that she decided to go down, she's being sued, as you know. She's being sued for a whole lot of money from the Macron family. And what is just astonishing, and what most people would probably end up questioning their loyalty to her after the narrative that she's been spinning for so long, is that she went out and hired a Jewish group of attorneys to represent her.
How the tables have turned, huh?
Yeah, a Jewish group. But it wasn't just any Jewish group. No. She didn't just hire anybody. She actually hired a Zionist Jew to represent her. A guy by the name of, what's his name? His name is Mark Kasowitz. So somebody decided to go out and actually look up Mark Kasowitz's resume. Mark Kasowitz, Jewish and Israeli students at the University of Pennsylvania, in federal court in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania concerning allegations that the university enables hostile anti-Semite educational environments, including pervasive acts of discrimination. So this is a guy who is defending Jewish students who are being attacked on campus. He represented Jewish and Israeli students at New York University, Harvard, Columbia, and Barnard in successfully getting their Title 11 claims and obtaining first of their kind settlements. Before settling Harvard, he helped to defeat
Title
Harvard.
6.
Title 6. Sorry, my bad. Wait, was that? No. Oh,
X is 10, V is 5.
Nonetheless, this guy is a lifelong Zionist. And the person that Candace Owens decided to go to defend her is a Zionist. Are you Are you kidding me? SK, how is that possible? I thought they were the devil. I thought they were Satan.
I mean, unless they're your attorneys and they're defending you, like, not keeping you from having to pay tens of millions of dollars or hundreds. I don't know what the damages are that are being asked for in that lawsuit. Does anybody
I don't know either. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me.
The Jews are only useful when you're trying to save money, apparently.
Your Honor, my client is pleading not guilty by reasons of mental retardation. The point is not that the attorneys accepted the work. The point is that Candace Owens has spent the last 7 months accusing Jews, not just Israel, not just Zionists, but Jews, of being the devil, that the first group of people she would go to defend her in court are a group of Zionist Jews. So either she's entirely full of crap. Well, there really isn't any other explanation for that. I can't come up with another logical, reasonable explanation for why she would hire people that she thinks are the devil to represent her, and why she thinks that she could get away with it.
No comment. I may or may not have been.
Well,
dealing
again,
with a
because
Jewish attorney
she lives.
recently.
Well, I mean, we know why she thinks she can get away with it. I mean,
but here's where the grift comes in, and this is, I think, the most damaging aspect of the entire.
This is why. This is why. This is why. This is why.
Are we going to get a copyright?
They're everlasting.
All right, I don't like that part, so we're going to cut that part out. I don't like.
Yeah, I think that's an original song by Regarding the Grid. So
yeah,
I'm
it is
just
fine there.
being funny. I was being funny.
But see, here's where the loyalty test really comes in. And I think this is where you get to separate the crazies, like the wino moms who do nothing but wake up with mimosas and then sit down and pine over Candace Owens' next episode, and the reasonable people who maybe have what they consider to be legitimate questions about the behavior of the state of Israel and their influence on United States politics. I get that. Fair conversation to have. But when your cult leader spends 7 months painting a picture of Zionist Jews as the devil, and then immediately runs to them to represent her in a defamation lawsuit, that's one thing. But then the worst part of this is when she goes to them.
We got an estimate
and
this weekend from a legal team. It is going to cost us millions. I don't have that money. I really don't.
Yeah. So she went to her audience and basically said, this lawsuit that I walked myself into because I said ridiculous, stupid things without any evidence, it's going to cost me millions of dollars. And then opened up actual donation portals for people to help fund her legal case.
But wait, didn't Laura Loomer also uncover that she is hiding assets in the middle of this lawsuit?
But hold on. For the record, because when I first saw the post, and it was saying that there was all this stuff in trust. Lots of people have trusts because that's a smart thing to do if you have any assets at all.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But so that part didn't bother me. Depending on when it was, like, was she intentionally trying to hide assets? Like, when was this?
No, that trust was opened back in 2020. So she opened that a long time ago.
That's not the problem. But the one thing that stuck out to me is the 2 houses within 2.3 miles of each other that are both multi-million-dollar houses. You're not going to have a multi-million-dollar rental. Come on, guys.
Yep.
Why does she have 2 houses 2.3 miles apart that are multi-million-dollar houses? Do they live together?
I'd be willing to bet, this is just my guess, my opinion. It's probably because George and Milo are shacking up somewhere. Just a guess, crazy guess. I
don't think anybody's shacking up with Milo for a very long time. The guy is not well at all.
None of these people are
well. By the looks of George, he doesn't look well either, but that's neither here nor there. I wonder where the kids sleep. Do the kids sleep at her house or his house? Like, I don't imagine they sleep with her, considering she has a She does. She even's talked about it. Like, she doesn't even get up in the middle of the night with her kids. Somebody else takes care of her kids.
So here's what we know about the assets, right? So $12 million tucked away in $12 million in 2 properties tucked away in this Battery, I think it's Battery Street Avenue or something like that. It's the name of the trust. Looks like a legitimate trust. I have no concerns with people putting their properties in a trust. That's the smart thing to do. I think, and then on top of that, I think Laura uncovered another $6.5 million property sale recently within the last couple of years as well. So the problem is not the trust. The problem is going to your audience and telling them you don't have the resources to pay your legal fees, opening up donation portals, when in fact you do have the resources to pay your legal fees. Because what a responsible person would do is they would actually take one of those properties and sell it to pay their own legal fees instead of grifting off of their audience to pay them for her. That's where the grift is. The grift isn't hiding your assets. That makes sense. Everybody does that. Anyone with half a brain puts their properties in a trust. But when you go to your audience and you try to convince them that you're broke and that you need them to fund your legal case when you're sitting on 2 properties worth $12 million, that is fraud. Maybe not criminal fraud, but it's absolutely moral fraud. And she got exposed.
Yeah. Well, I think the bigger story here is the cult following that she gained as she was uncovering the secrets of the Macrons is getting her sued, and now she has to defend herself because she made it all up. Just like she's making the rest of the. I mean, at this point, she's the Inquirer, except the Inquirer was more believable than she is.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. We've got an epidemic of wine crime moms. That's all they do. They think they're going to solve all the world's crimes on social media, and they just destroy people's lives in the process. It happens all the time.
Hey now. Also, did you say the National Enquirer parent company AMI, David Pecker? Are we talking about that now?
Yes.
I can't remember. I can't count the number of times that SK had to explain David Pecker on TikTok live debates.
Dude,
by the way,
every
did you guys
time-
like that on Friday? Did you guys like that?
Well,
That
it
was-
would have been way better had we actually had a debate. But
Mhm.
I will say, every time I had to say David Pecker when I was reading court updates or reading court documents, I giggled because I'm not mature enough for this.
That's funny. But I think the worst part for the week over the weekend for these people is the evidentiary hearing that happened on Friday. And I think that might be one of the reasons why you're seeing such a massive crash out from the cultist today, or why a lot of them just went silent. Because I was paying close attention, and most of her normal defenders were nowhere to be found when she was being dragged by Laura Loomer. So that means one of two things. It either means that they're like, okay, this woman is now toxic because she's been caught grifting off of her audience and I want no part of it. Or B, all of those people are scared to death of what Laura Loomer is going to find on them.
Yep.
Yeah. That's probably a part of it as well. So the evidentiary hearing that happened on Friday was absolutely devastating to Candace. And she spent the weekend pretending like that was the thing that she should focus on instead of focusing on the fact that her husband's rear end just got opened wide up.
What does she have to focus on the evidentiary hearing? That's the evidence they presented, and she spent the last 7 months saying that none of it existed and that they were making it all up. Is she still trying to pretend like she's right and they're lying in court? I missed it because I was doing actual work.
Well, she's complaining, saying that the FBI is refusing to release information, the same grift crap that she's
to who? Her?
Because
Yeah, she's not entitled to it.
She's never watched a court case before, so she doesn't know how this works.
Well, she's going to watch one up close and personal here real soon.
She's not entitled to any of that evidence at all.
But I just want to clarify for the record, Patriot Dad, we don't know anything about George Farmer's rear end. All we know is that he possibly, allegedly had a clogged toilet. Okay.
I don't think it was a toilet that was being plunged, SK. As a matter of fact, if you go through the post from Laura Loomer from this weekend, she was quite clear about exactly what it was that was being plunged. Quite clear in multiple posts.
In case
didn't
there's any
hold
legal
back.
teams watching, allegedly plunged, and
Allegedly.
it could have possibly been a
Hey,
toilet.
Hey, we're
don't
just
know.
asking questions here. We're just asking questions.
So that happened this weekend, Nom, where you were digging holes in the ground.
Yeah. So other people were digging holes.
Yeah.
Never mind. Stop it. It's too easy.
We'll leave that one alone.
Exactly.
But that's not it. I mean, it's just like watching these people just act like, I say this all the time. Donald Trump has the most unique ability to get people to show just strange parts of their rear end that they never wanted to expose to anybody. Apparently, George Farmer's done it. Candace Owens is doing it now. Marjorie Taylor Greene. What happened to this woman? Can anybody like pinpoint exactly what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I showed you the pictures. That's what
No,
happened.
not the result. Like what got her here? Not the fact that
again, those pictures. Just Google Neanderthal, and the picture that comes up looks exactly like her.
When you have the Daily Beast writing articles pointing out the fact that former MAGA are now embracing claims that Trump assassination was staged.
That's not, hold on. That says MAGA. That doesn't say former MAGA. The Daily Beast is just an actual pile of shit outlet. Just disgusting. They're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene has left MAGA. Rather, we kicked her out of MAGA. She's not MAGA. She's not. She is part of this fake and gay ass crew of America only who doesn't understand. I don't know why she's so mad.
She's a
masshole. She's a masshole. She's a masshole. Buckley, I don't even know who Buckley Carlson is. I saw his name pop up for the first time.
Brother.
It's his brother? Okay, I thought it was his son. Someone said he's his son. Was his son working for JD?
He was working for JD, but I saw allegedly, I don't know because I didn't look into it. Apparently,
hey audience, who is Buckley Tucker's brother or his son? Because I know he has a brother that's just a batshit crazy dude, and then there's the son who used to work.
Brother and son have the same name.
Okay. So we know that the brother's the one who was out pushing the conspiracy theory that the assassination was a hoax, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, considering Corey Compatore, is that his name? Is dead. 2 people died at that. If you're going to call that a hoax, you're a freaking monster. You are an absolute monster if you're going to try to make the case that that was a hoax.
And we all watched it happen live.
Well, not only that, but we went live right after, and I was live for like 24 hours plus after that happened, and we were doing live research into what happened, into the possible suspects, all of these things. And we had a guy come up on the panel that was there. His girlfriend still wasn't home yet. She was a paramedic at the event, and they also personally know that family, and his girlfriend was going to be a bridesmaid in one of his daughter's weddings, which I believe was in September, was going to be taking place in September. So this happened in July. In September, one of the daughters was getting married. So then her dad wasn't going to be there to give her away. But we had firsthand accounts. We had people requesting to come up in the box that were there, that were telling us all about stuff that happened. It was pretty crazy. There's no way to fake that. Also, do you really think Donald Trump's going to trust anybody, even like the best sniper, even if Chris Kyle? Do you think he's going to be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to stand on stage and you're going to pew pew at me and you're just going to make sure that you just barely get me? Like, what?
Nobody would. Well, what they're doing now is they're sharing obviously doctored photos, trying to cover up the wound in his ear. In some cases, they're sharing photos that are reverse imaged, and then they're covering up the wound. And that's exactly what Marjorie Taylor Greene did. She shared a post from somebody who was using an AI doctored photo, basically calling the assassination attempt a hoax. And she got absolutely destroyed in her comment section over it. So this is a post that she sent out trying to cover her rear end. She says, I'm not calling the Butler assassination a hoax, but there are a lot of questions that deserve public answers. I'm asking, why won't Trump release the information about Matthew Crooks? Did he actually act alone? If not, who is behind him and who helped him? Why the cover up? You know, What's fascinating to me is, did you know that all of this information is out in the public already? You're not going to get the classified documents, but the FBI was pretty clear when they talked to multiple news agencies over the last year or so about this. And they went through a list of all the devices that they uncovered, the people they talked to. And it was pretty obvious as I was reading through these articles that, yeah, they did a pretty thorough investigation of this. The left and the faggot crowd want you to think that there was devices that we never accessed. Not true. They want you to think that there was people that were never spoken to. Not true. They want you to think that there's investigative threads that were never pulled on. Not true. Unless you're going to make the case that Kash Patel is flat out lying to people, which I don't have any reason to believe that at all. It's simply not true, because this has been reported on extensively over the last year.
You have to believe that Trump is lying, or Trump is allowing himself to be lied to by Kash Patel. See, this is what still doesn't make any sense, right? Again, Occam's razor, folks. Occam's razor. Do you all imagine that President Trump's closest advisors, the people closest to him since the beginning of his first term, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel was the one who uncovered the Russia collusion hoax completely when he was working for Devin Nunes. And Dan Bongino, who went to bat, you guys imagine that those two just like walked into the FBI and, I don't know, someone bribed them when they got there and they completely turned on Trump and they're keeping all this information? What? It doesn't make any sense. It's nonsensical.
It's nonsensical. Have you guys seen this article?
SK, hold on. Let SK go.
Yeah. I just want to say, for entertainment purposes only, there is possibly some sort of connection between Crooks and what's his face? Ralph.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you say his name. If you want to look into it, look up their mental health treatment, and if there's any possible hospitals in that state where Trump was possibly unalived, and comment between the two, because that would be crazy.
Let me ask you another question. We know that happening down in the Southern District of Florida, there is a massive grand conspiracy case being built. The grand jury's been impaneled since January. They are moving in the direction of looking at everything as one giant conspiracy. So let me ask you a question. If it is possible that there was some link to Ryan Routh or to some foreign nexus that was involved in at least planning or somehow supporting the attempted assassination of President Trump and or Charlie Kirk, or any public official for that matter, do you think that they would just tell you in the media, or do you think that they would fold that in with the grand conspiracy investigation that's happening right now, because it would still be part of the same conspiracy?
Well, now stop it, PatriotDad. Now you're being logical and reasonable, and you're actually using critical thinking skills. We can't do that.
Yeah. Do you guys mind if I pull this up and kind of read through this real quick? Because most people probably have not seen this article, or don't understand that when you're being told that there is devices that were never investigated, they're lying to you. I'm going to put this on the big screen here. So this is, I think this is Bongino, actually. We have reviewed this case over and over, looked into every nugget. We have spoken to the families, the president. There is no cover up here. There's no motive for it. There is no reason for it. I want to go down, get down here. Bear with me here. Where's it at? Here we go. 485 FBI employees have been involved in some way, shape, or form in this investigation. The FBI around the world has conducted more than 1,000 interviews connected to this case. We reviewed 2,000 tips that were submitted. We served and executed more than 10 search warrants and 100 subpoenas. In that, we specifically analyzed 13 electronic devices that were associated with Crooks and his family members from his home in Bethel Park. The FBI official said the FBI examined 35 accounts linked to Crooks, including social media, bank, and other online accounts. The FBI has been able to access all of the accounts. There has been reporting to inappropriately and incorrectly state that there was encryption that the FBI was not able to get into. That is not true, which is weird, because what Joe Kent is basing his entire argument on, in terms of saying that the Trump administration is withholding information, has been telling everyone that'll put a microphone in front of his face is that there are devices that he was never allowed access to that we never looked at. And it says right here, the FBI has been able to access all of the accounts. There have been reporting, et cetera, inappropriately and incorrectly.
Can I bring this down real quick? So
Yep.
so what you just said is Joe Kent making the claim that he should have been entitled to see the contents of every device?
It's funny because when you listen to him speak, he stopped short of saying I wasn't giving access, and he says effectively, well, we just don't know because we were blocked.
So he's doing the same thing that Candace does, where they believe that they are entitled to seeing every piece of information that they want to see. Joe Kent, the director of the National Counterterrorism Center, is not a man in the room. He doesn't have a big seat at the table. He never had a big seat at the table. He was involved in some conversations, but he's not in the Oval Office with President Trump. In fact, he's not even at most of the director level or the cabinet level meetings. He's at none of those things. So for Joe Kent and Candace Owens to constantly say the FBI is not giving us all the information because you're not fucking entitled to it. That's why.
Right.
Need to know and you don't need to know.
That's right. That's right. So help me understand how you square this with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's running around saying that information is being withheld when the FBI says that there was 1,000 interviews, 2,000 tips, 10 search warrants, 100 subpoenas, 13 electronic devices, 35 accounts connected to crooks. What information does she expect to be given to the American people?
Well, I think you've already covered it. If there's any sort of charges that are pending or investigations taking place on who could have been involved, that's information that cannot be released until later. Like, I don't know, at a trial or after a grand jury doesn't indict. I mean,
indictment.
Hold on to your horses, people. That person that they just arrested that they knew was selling arms to Iran, they've known that for a long time. It took them months. Actually, they said it was extremely fast for the investigation, and it was months and months long. They knew this person was selling arms to Iran, and it still took them months and months and months to arrest them. And the only reason they moved when they did is because they were getting ready to get on a plane to go and travel internationally, and they didn't want to risk losing the person.
Nom, what was that comment you put up? I didn't read it. I'm still mad at Kash Patel for not charging and locking my old lady up for being mean and not making me a sandwich. So now I have to say vote Democrat like the
Candace will make you a sandwich. I think she wrote a whole book about it. I don't know why you need a whole book to talk about 2 pieces of bread.
Candace Owens wrote a book about sandwich. Are you sure it wasn't what's her name? The Harry's wife.
Harry's wife.
Oh, Kate Middleton.
Kate, no, that's William. Harry's the.
What's her face? Meghan Markle.
Meghan Markle. Sure, it wasn't Meghan Markle that wrote a book about sandwiches.
I don't know what her book was about. I don't care about her.
It's probably about sandwiches. It's about as useful as something Candace Patel.
Candace's book is something about sandwiches, and it's her sitting down cross-legged.
She's not making George any sandwiches. That's for sure. SK.
No.
Maybe she's the sandwich. She's the sandwich.
Ew. I bet George is making the sandwiches. He kind of seems like he might be the little bitch of the relationship.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But Marjorie Taylor Greene was not done showing her ass with the Butler post and then having to come back and basically like, I didn't mean it. Don't be so mean to me. She also is pushing this fake video saying the U.S. funds Israel and provides them with weapons to do it. Even worse, the U.S. does nothing to truly stop them. I tried to stop funding to Israel and only 5 other members of Congress voted with me, only 5 out of 435. It takes 218 members, blah, 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 blah. And what she did is she shared a post that says, this is what Benjamin Netanyahu did to Christians in Lebanon in just over a month. Lie.
Oh my gosh, you guys, the Amazing Torres comment needs to go on the screen because it's on Rumble and people on YouTube and everywhere else can't see it. That deserves a time on the screen. She said George prefers hot dogs.
Well, I mean, in some circles, a hot dog is a sandwich. Maybe not all circles, but in some circles.
There's hot dogs and sandwiches sometimes.
Not a sandwich.
If Candace is in the sandwich, maybe there's hot dogs. I don't know.
Well,
who knows?
So there are rumors out there that there has in fact been a George Farmer sandwich that included Candace and Milo.
Yeah, that sounds like rumors to me.
That's gross.
That came from.
All right, can we get back to this? Can we get back to this?
With the like acute incessant yeast infection?
Oh.
Okay, you're right. You are not mature enough for this stuff. You are not mature enough for this stuff.
Every
all right,
time I see that, I can't listen. I can't. Every woman in here, well, I didn't know till I was in my 40s. Every woman in here can tell you there's no way. If something's happening persistently like that, listen, that is not something you mess around with.
It is Monday, not Friday. That's right. We're supposed to be serious on Monday.
SK, this comment is directed at you because we're trying to do a Monday show and you are doing a Friday show.
Julie Rios has my back. She knows. As a woman, she knows. I didn't know till I was in my 40s, but once I found out, I knew there's no way somebody's going to have some sort of like persistent. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
All right, back to the serious content. The problem that Marjorie Taylor Greene suffers from is that she's not smart enough to know the stories that she's sharing with people are total nonsense. Like this video here that she reposted, pretending like she's somehow a warrior for the America First crowd because she voted against funding for Israel to block them from destroying Christian neighborhoods in Lebanon, is a flat out lie. That video actually has been debunked about 1 million times. That is a Hezbollah stronghold in Lebanon, not a Christian neighborhood. And if Marjorie Taylor Greene was smarter than a horse, she might have taken a few minutes to actually do some research and say, is this true?
Well, there's a good indication that it's not going to be true. And the fact that it's coming from a shadow of Ezra is a very good indication that it's not going to be true.
Yeah. Well, these guys are basically just like, they are laundering slop.
Well, they're laundering Iranian nonsense, right? Again, we talked about it on Friday. Data Republican did a 45-minute interview with Glenn Beck last week, and this was the exact topic. She explained precisely, and she did a thread on it, how the Iranian propaganda is being laundered in and laundered back out to Iran so it can be pushed into the Iranian people and say, see, the Americans are supporting the regime, not you, to try to quell any desires or thoughts for an uprising.
No.
This is Iranian propaganda. That's all it is.
That's right.
It's rather it's IRGC propaganda, because another thing that's happening, right? We did a bit of a victory lap on Friday about Trump's announcement that Iran had agreed to never use the Strait of Hormuz as a weapon again, and then 24 hours later they were doing that. There's a lot of folks. I did a video about this earlier. It's the only video I did today. People don't understand like what's actually happening over in Iran, where there's actually two factions that are fighting for control. You've got the political side of Iran that actually wants to have a country and an infrastructure that is salvageable when they're done. So they're interested in talking about peace and figuring out how to get there. And they're the ones who are being rational and reasonable. And then there's the IRGC, Islamic Republican Guard Corps. These are absolute religious fanatic fascists, guys. That's who these people are. These are if your Islamic Republic requires a Guard Corps to enforce Islamic doctrine, you live in a fascist state. And the IRGC are the ones that is pushing this propaganda, but they're also the ones that are funding stuff like this over here. They're the ones who were paying Hezbollah and the Houthis and Hamas to do the things that they do in the name of their religious Allah and Muhammad or whatever. So when you don't understand why the Strait of Hormuz is closed again, it's because Trump is actually creating a wedge between the political side of Iran and the Islamic Republic, the IRGC side of Iran, as they continue to pick off IRGC folks. They're trying to negotiate with people who want to be rational and actually have an opportunity to lead the country out of this shit.
Yep. Well, the IRGC folks that are a part of the faction that are effectively trying to destroy Iran on their way out the door. Let's make no mistake. That's what they're trying to do. They're like a bunch of little babies who, knowing that their time is very limited because they're running out of money, they can't pay their forces. Their drone technology has basically been destroyed. Their fleet has been destroyed. Their Air Force sucks. There's bodies, literally mountains of IRGC commanders stacking up. I just saw a post earlier today that said that, and I can't verify this yet, but I'll work on it, that the Gayatollah's son, the actual Gayatollah, is in fact deceased and has been. And the IRGC has been propping up a fake version, kind of like they did with Joe Biden, except Joe Biden was still alive, but this guy's dead, allegedly dead, and has been dead since he was shipped over to Russia for surgery after being hit with a rocket. He's been dead. And so their days are absolutely numbered, and they know that, but they're trying to destroy as much as they can on their way out the door. And because the globalists realized that we're literally like days, maybe a few weeks away from having a peace deal in place that will allow the Iranian people to finally experience some form of relief from the fascist radical lunatics who've been savaging them for almost 50 years, the globalists are spreading their attacks. You and Nom look so much alike. What?
Should we tell her? Should we tell Mama Sue?
It's almost like they shared the same womb at the same time.
Mama Sue, we are twins. Welcome to the show, by the way. I'm glad that you stopped by.
Our comment
We are
section
twins.
is out of control.
It is. It is.
I love
We
the
are
fact
twins,
that
Mama
you
Sue.
guys when Patriot Dad starts going on a rant, the comment section's like, we don't even care. We're still going to figure out, finish our conversations. We don't care.
Did you see my comment when
No.
you guys were being serious? I said, PD and Nom are trying to be serious. LOL. I'm going to get fired.
You can't get fired. You're like one of the owners. How is that possible? You're like one of the founders. You can't be fired from your own show.
I have no idea what
Founders
you guys are
can
talking
actually be
about.
fired. It happens all the time, believe it or not. Founders lose their companies more times than you would imagine.
I think Nom just said I'm going to be fired. I think
No, that's not what I said. But it is a thing. Founders, if you get board members,
I give up.
you could lose your company. It's a thing.
He said I'm totally going to be fired, you guys. So make it
Claire's
good.
here. I mean, we
just-
got Kyle's here. I mean, everybody's here.
Listen, I heard you guys say Iran. I have no idea what you're talking about, but
Speaking of Iran,
I heard you guys say Iran. Did you guys see that Tim Walz went to Spain and trashed Trump in our country, and that we have all these people on MSNBC talking shit about Trump and the United States? You know how pissed I get when people don't stand with the United States publicly on the world stage. Yeah, Tim Walz. You guys, if you haven't looked into it, go to my X account and pull up Vance Bolter, and then tell me who's paying Tim Walz to go run his mouth in Spain, because somebody has control of that guy. Because if I were Tim Walz, I would be like the Simpsons meme with Homer Simpson, like just backing up back into the bushes, because that guy, he's going to be in a lot of trouble for a lot of different reasons, not just fraud.
it was. Listen, it wasn't just him. Chris Coons was over there trashing Trump. And I mean, they apparently there was a big progressive event in Spain this weekend.
It was Soros.
And they all went over there. Yeah, it was Soros, and they all went over there and trashed Trump. All of them did.
Yeah.
Tim Walz, Chris Coons, all of them did.
You
The
can go
globalists
to the
are on the
Alliance.
march. The globalists. Go ahead, SK. I'm sorry.
You can go to the Global Progressive Alliance and pull it up. That's what it was. And you can look at all the countries and you can see what party runs those countries. Everything we've been trying to tell you this whole entire time is true. And if you believe otherwise, just go pull up that website. There are a bunch of commies, a bunch of super socialist commie wannabes, every single one of them, and they are forming an alliance and they are going after the United States.
Speaking of Claire, everybody, timeline cleanse.
Oh, we have a timeline. Well, I'm not done with this timeline though.
Introducing products from the Patriot Source back office. Tired of clutching your pearls every time the president opens his mouth? Can't handle 4 whole years of winning? Do you spend your days doom scrolling, dyeing your hair blue, and threatening to move to Canada again? Well, 2 regular guys from the Patriot Source podcast back office got tired of listening to you whine, so they built a solution. Introducing the Snowflake Cryo Sleep Chamber from Patriot Source back office products. It's simple, guarding the grid, and MAGA Jake lock you securely inside the device. You hear a little hissing noise, and boom, 4 years later you wake up. Gas is cheap, borders are secure, and you have no idea what a meme is anymore. Side effects may include missing the greatest economic boom in history, 0 new therapy bills, and waking up wondering why everyone suddenly loves their country again. Warning, not FDA approved, not actually safe, and definitely a fire hazard. But hey, it's cheaper than moving to Canada, may cause uncontrollable urges to vote red upon thawing. Order now for the low, low price of $4,776.42. Or 4 easy payments of Stop Crying.
I just want to say my only critique would be you missed the greatest opportunity ever to use 1776.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was good.
That was great. That was good stuff.
You probably should have waited until I was done with the actual timeline that we're on and then put the
Nom's going to get fired too.
You can't fire me. I'm the producer. You won't have a show.
That's true.
Can't fire the producer.
Anybody, folks.
You can't fire the producer.
I don't know why they try to make me out to be this like hard driving, like
man. You're not a hard driver. You're just not funny and you're stiff and boring.
Can we get to the point of the show, which is the fact that the globalists are cornered and they're feeling the heat, which is the reason why you're starting to see people like Tim Walz go over to Spain, join a Soros event, raging like a mad lunatic about how evil Donald Trump is. It's the reason why you're seeing all of this incredibly stupid, increasingly aggressive narrative around the 25th Amendment. Somebody is very worried that Donald Trump and his team are getting close to something. I don't know if you guys can feel it or not, but the pressure is building.
Well, so I mean, when people get subpoenaed and to come and testify in front of grand juries, right? Even though those subpoenas are supposed to be, somewhat hush hush, they tell their friends, "Hey, I'm being subpoenaed. I'm going in. I'm going in." So when person after person after person has been subpoenaed either to DC, because you remember we told you this, I think it was back around October-ish, maybe it was September timeframe, that they'd actually impaneled 4 different grand juries to gather evidence, and that ultimately it would be fed down to the Southern District of Florida grand jury. We've got a bunch of people that are being subpoenaed right now to go into DC grand jury for information gathering. We've got Joe to Genova. We've got all kinds of folks are being forced. They all know that shit is getting ready to hit the fan. It's coming, and they know it, and they can't stop it.
That's right. And they're
the
very
only
nervous.
hope is to impeach Trump. That's their only hope.
That's right. But it's not just Trump that they need to get rid of, because Trump has built one of the most incredibly successful cabinets probably in modern political history, at least that I've seen in my life. I've never seen anything that operates as effectively and as smoothly as this cabinet. You've got Kash Patel over at the FBI that is basically creating an FBI that has transformed law enforcement in the United States, moving it away from political weaponization, attacking political opponents, into a law enforcement agency that's actually out there protecting the American people. You got the lowest crime rates in generations, lowest murder rates in generations, finding tens of thousands of trafficked children, breaking up trafficking rings. I mean, these guys are working their tails off. So you should not be surprised when you find that the globalists start attacking those folks directly. And that's exactly what's happening across the board. Can you pull up Attack on Patel, the first one?
Is it it's an image or a video?
It's an image.
Yeah. Hold on.
Pull that up. It's just
so while I'm doing that, while I'm bringing this up, it's worth reminding folks that the job of the FBI is not to be used as a political tool to go after. That's attach on Patel.
I'll get it.
I'll get it. The job of the FBI is not to go after or be pointed in the direction of your political enemies. The job of the FBI is to actually protect the American people, right? It is to investigate and enforce federal laws. It just so happens that there's a lot of federal law breaking going on in Washington, D.C. when it comes to politicians. And then that's how FBI gets weaponized. But that's not its job. Its job is to be out there in our communities, in our states, spread across 50 states. I don't know however many many field offices there are. There's multiple in every state. Some have 5, 7 of them. Some have 1 or 2. But that's their job, be out there in the states, not to be in D.C. taking down their political opponents.
That's right. Well, that's why you're seeing things like this. Did you guys see? And I think Kash Patel actually filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit over this today. So the FBI director is MIA. Sarah Fitzpatrick wrote this just stupid hit piece accusing Kash Patel of basically being an MIA FBI director, which is the craziest thing considering how effective the FBI under Kash Patel has been. How on earth can it possibly redesign the entire mission and track record of the FBI in a little more than a year and turn around and say what the FBI director was MIA? That is total crap. And the fact that she used, I think, 9 totally anonymous sources, didn't provide a single shred of evidence through that entire article, and slandered the FBI director all the way through it, is the reason why the Atlantic, who, by the way, is owned by one of the women found sitting on the couch with Ghislaine Maxwell a few years ago in the Epstein files. But nonetheless, it earned them a $250 million lawsuit today.
Well, good. They're going to deserve every bit of that. Listen, folks, we've told you this, and you guys are all smart enough to know that anytime you see one of these hit piece merchant outlets like this peddling anonymous sources, understand it's because they want an effective person to be removed from their position. Kash Patel has been effective as the FBI director. He has rewritten the rule book for the FBI. He has redefined and redesigned what the FBI should be doing. He sent them again out into their communities. They're doing actual FBI and actual police work now, and they hate it. They don't want lower crime rates. They don't want 8 out of 10 America's most wanted people captured. They don't want children that are being trafficked rescued. That's not what they want. They want crime and they want chaos. But I got a little message for him before you get into the rest of these. Every single time one of these attacks and these hit pieces drop, President Trump is like, "Oh, I'm keeping them longer. Oh no, Kash Patel's going to stay longer." He's like, "Yeah, no, hey Kash, let's go out in the public. Why don't you go out and say a few more words? Do a few more press conferences, Kash. Do a few more hits. Go on CNN. Let him see you. He's not caving to this shit."
I completely agree with you. Also, for the record, I didn't debate Friday because nobody showed up. Did you see my debate with the person about Kash Patel and his lawsuit?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it was the best debate ever. It sucks that it was on X and it took all freaking day long to get there. But I commented to that Braver Angels person saying, I support the First Amendment. I don't support cancel culture. I don't wish any harm on you, including losing your job. That's not what I'm after. I just want Braver Angels to make a statement, And this chick comments trying to debate me, and she posts, because I went on to talk about free speech, and I mentioned Hillary Clinton and Tim Walz, and I posted their clips of the things that they said during the campaign. And she posted his lawsuit, Kash Patel's lawsuit, about these allegations and these comments that were made with actual malice, by the way, which would be the New York Times v. Sullivan case. And this chick posted that and was like, who hates free speech? Kash Patel's trying to sue these people, blah, blah, blah. Took all day long. And by the end of it, she was begging me to say that it's okay for Kash Patel to sue these people. And I'm like, lady, you still don't understand the difference between Kash Patel, an individual that's a public figure suing somebody for libel with actual malice, and the government coming after you and holding you civilly and criminally liable for the shit you post on social media. Two totally different things.
They don't understand it because they actually enjoy censorship. So they can't. Oh, someone tell me what's going on here. What is GR Patriot saying? Pay the man asking for a $20.
Because guarding the grid was going to bed, and somebody said, "Who fired guarding the grid?" And I said, "PatriotDad." PatriotDad fired guarding the grid.
Guarding the grid.
That guy's putting out some. Said, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?" And I was
guarding the grid and Clipmaster Jake are putting out some incredible work. I got some stuff that I'm going to show.
They're doing more work than we are.
I think they are
100%. Actually,
yeah. I think they do.
I mean, I spend a lot of time researching, but they spend a lot of time making videos.
I spent a lot of time digging post holes and putting fences in grounds and stupid stuff because I'm too old for that.
You were digging holes, Nom. Stop it.
Yeah.
No, that was Milo and George Farmer digging holes. So Sally, I wanted to bring this up. I know it's a little off topic, but I'm glad you put this in there because I keep seeing people talk about Bibi Netanyahu doesn't want peace in the Middle East because he needs the threat of war to continue to stay in power. That is probably true. But here's the thing. I don't particularly care what Bibi Netanyahu wants. Doesn't matter to me at all. Bibi Netanyahu has an agenda, just like the Israeli people have an agenda, just like the Israeli government have an agenda. And their agenda does not necessarily always line up with ours. But where they do line up, we can partner together and we can get things accomplished like the Abraham Accords and reshaping the entire Middle East and global regime change. I am in total agreement with partnering with a country like Israel who's going to have our back in that objective, and they're going to provide some incredible military support to do it. But if Bibi Netanyahu has an agenda where he wants to try to keep a war or a conflict going, fine, he can try to do that. And President Trump is going to have to try to rein him in. But just know, Israel's allowed to have their own agenda.
Yeah.
They're allowed to.
Yeah. And you know what? If it turns out in the midst of trying to create peace in that region through the Abraham Accords, if Israel ends up being the one that is causing the problems after Iran is dealt with and taken care of, that's a different problem. And that's something that we'll have to deal with. And the people involved in the Abraham Accords will have to figure out how to sort that out with our help. But until then, I mean, Israel's basically doing everything we tell them to do. I mean, I don't know how many times we have to hear information about President Trump going to Bibi and say, stop it, knock it off. Stop
he
it.
does it
And he
publicly, you guys.
Yeah.
He says he was pissed when they hit the LNG field, like pissed.
Yep, pissed. All right, so can you pull up, Nam, can you pull up the Kash Patel 2 attacks on Patel, the video? Because I think this is the reason why they need Kash Patel to go. I mean, all the success that he's shown as the director of the FBI speaks for itself. But we're starting to get down to brass tacks here. And I think we're getting ready to start seeing some actual, well, just play it.
Take this and have not taken this laying down. We did already indict former Director Comey, and that's going through the judicial process. But we also, at this FBI, even though we uncovered what we uncovered back in the House Intel days, I had to come in here and find rooms that they hid from the world. I had to come in here and find access on our computer systems in restricted and prohibited case files that they purposely put in places for no one to see and find. We have found all this information. We are working with our Department of Justice partners, and I am never going to let this go because they not only have personally attacked the presidency of the United States and President Trump, but they tried to thwart our elections and rig the entire system. And that is not something that is going to stop on. That is not something I'm going to allow on my watch. Right. But you just have to remember, they built this disease temple over 20 and 30 years. We've got all the evidence. I can announce on your show that we've got all the information we need. We're working with our prosecutors at the Department of Justice and their Attorney General Todd Blanche, and we are going to be making arrests, and it's coming, and I promise you, it's coming soon.
Well, he goes on there, and it's about another minute and a half of the same thing, but that's the FBI director telling the American people that we've got it, and arrests are coming, and they're coming soon. I don't think I've heard him make that official statement as the FBI director before.
Well, so I caught that. It was yesterday morning. So she actually asked him about election fraud in the 2020 election.
Yep.
And he went on and answered it that way. And then she brought him back around and he's like, oh, yeah. And we're getting him for that, too, because it's actually part of the same conspiracy, by the way.
That's right.
It's all part of the same grand, seditious, and treasonous, in some cases, conspiracy.
That's right. So they're going after Kash Patel. On top of that, they're definitely going after Pete Hegseth, and it's coming from all angles. So probably the most effective Department of War secretary in modern history, Pete Hegseth, they have to get this guy out. They have to. I mean, think about this. Think about this, folks. Pete Hegseth, a Fox News analyst. I mean, that's the way they want you to see him. A Fox News analyst came into the Department of War and has executed some of the most incredible operations probably in human history, has totally reshaped the entire military from top to bottom, changed it inside and out in what, 15 months? 16 months?
Folks, this we should all be scared to death of our own military right now, frankly. The capabilities that they are showing, I mean, with short of nuclear weapons, I think you could stack up probably 10 to 15 other countries' militaries, and we would still beat the ever living daylights out of them. This is amazing what they have done. And just think back, not too long ago, we had Abbey, where we had 13 Marines were killed in the withdrawal, the pullout from Afghanistan, where we had dudes in robes hanging on the bottom of C-130s. Totally embarrassed. This is the most effective, lethal military we have ever seen anywhere in history, and human history ever anywhere. And these people are trying to go after Pete Hegseth. Again, President Trump is laughing at them. He's laughing.
I accidentally hid Sally's comments. I don't know how, and I don't know how to fix it.
Oh, what'd you do?
I don't know. My hand hit it, I think, when
Sally Sly?
You said something.
We'll see if we can fix it, Sally. SK, sorry for
SK broke you.
She broke you.
Yeah.
Nope.
There you go. Devil's dog.
There she is.
You were talking about pulling out.
No, put user. No, I see her. She's still up there.
There we go.
No.
That's just making sure PD knows we are patriots.
That's an old. That's an accident.
I know you all are. I know you are. And the reason why they need Pete Hegseth out is because he will fight to the death to deliver on the promises that he's made, that President Trump has made. And it's also the reason why he is enemy number one to these people. Nom, do you have Globalist Hegseth impeachment? Is that in here? Can you pull that up?
Oh, video. It's an image.
No, it's a video. It's an image. This is big. So, do you guys know who Yasmin Ansari is? Congresswoman
She filed articles of impeachment for basically everybody in government at this point.
Yeah. So she filed articles of impeachment, but you got to hear you got to hear the reasons. I'm gonna see if I have this on my phone. The reasons why she filed these articles of impeachment are freaking hilarious. Where do I have them? Yeah, here we go. All right. So basically summarizing this. So Yasmin Ansari files five articles of impeachment against Pete Hegseth. In summary, for unauthorized war against Iran, endangering U.S. troops. Apparently, she thinks endangering U.S. troops is an impeachable offense. Targeting civilians, which is absolute nonsense. The only video that anyone has shown so far of any kind of targeting of a school was actually an IRCG missile that went in the air, turned around, and came back and hit a building. We know that. Mishandling sensitive military info, obstructing congressional oversight, and damaging the reputation of the U.S. military. Can you believe the gall on these absolute morons? So Pete Hegseth single-handedly builds the most powerful military in the history of the world, literally extracts a narco-terrorist president a fake president from Venezuela in the dead of night without a single shot fired, and removes multiple nuclear facilities in Iran last year and stacks up bodies of IRGC and the Ayatollah and his son in a matter of 7 weeks. And your argument is that he's damaging the reputation of the U.S. military? What? Huh? Damage the reputation of the U.S. military? No.
Hold on. No. But listen. I was on mute when I was trying to stop you. Listen, what they mean by that is the reputation of the U.S. military. The one that's damaged is the one where there are dudes in dresses in the military. There are trans surgeon generals, even though that's not really military. There are trans generals and colonels and all kinds of weird people. And by the way, you've got Secretary of Defenses who disappear for weeks at a time and find out that they're having, I don't know, potentially life-affecting surgeries and didn't tell anybody. I mean, you have Abbey, you have the Afghan withdrawal. That's what they consider to be. You have the lowest recruitment rates, I think, in decades. That's what they mean, the reputation that they want. You understand, these people actually hate the United States military. They hate it. They don't want it unless it's to go and fight a globalist war for a Democrat president. If Biden or Obama was doing this, it would be, in their opinion, it would be the most amazing, beautiful military precision and strategic operation ever of all time. Even though it is, but they would certainly be saying that. You're on mute too. You're on mute too.
I know. I was looking for something. They would absolutely be screaming from the hilltops about how incredible of a military leader the Otto Pen or Lloyd Austin were if they created this type of a military. But that's what they're trying to accomplish, is to remove Pete Hegseth from office. And it's done by this Yasmin Ansari. Do we have those? Can we pull up a couple of can you pull up Attack on Pete 2 and then Attack on Pete 3? And then I just actually dropped a new document in there that I want to show. It is something that we actually looked at maybe 2 months ago, but it is relevant because, you see, one of the things that we're trying to accomplish is we're trying to paint a picture for you guys on how all of these insurrectionists that are operating in social media and in the American political system are so tied together. So, pulling this back a little bit, pull up Attack on Pete 4 also when you get a chance. What is this?
There's Attack on Pete 2.
No, that's not Pete. That's Hegseth. What? How did that video get in there?
Well, that's Attack on Patel because I'm stupid. I can't read.
While you guys are looking for that, did you
Attack on Pete?
Did you see that we've been testing the lasers, the Jewish space lasers? the Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Wait, what?
Remember when Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about the Jewish space lasers? Well, apparently we've been actually testing out lasers. We're using lasers now. We're not. We're using lasers.
I think we've been using lasers, haven't we?
Yes.
Well, on Fox, but on Fox tonight, they were talking about it. They said we'd been testing them out.
Jewish space lasers. I don't think we've been using Jewish space lasers until now. That must be new.
I know. They've been using like lasers from ships, I think, but still.
The last time I heard lasers, it was on Austin Powers. It was on sharks with laser beams on their heads.
So Yasmin Ansari is not just a congressman or congresswoman on the Democrat Party side. She's actually a Iranian American who is a part of this National Iranian American Council or whatever, which, if you guys remember correctly, was basically a front group for the Iranian lobby here in the United States. And as a matter of fact, I think at one point we're even sanctioned because of it. But if you remember correctly, we've heard that name before. We've actually heard the Iranian American Council or whatever the hell it's called name before. Do you guys remember that photo that I showed you guys a while ago? Can you pull up Attack on Pete 4?
It's the National Iranian American Council.
That's it.
I think.
National Iranian American Council. Do you guys remember? Can you pull up number 4?
Attack on Pete 4. I'm looking for it. There it is. New one.
You guys that have been around for a little while, you probably remember this photograph. You guys remember this?
The Quincy Massey getting awards.
Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna with their handler, Trita Parsi, founder of the NIAC Action Pack. Do you remember this when we saw that Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna were being given an award from the Quincy Institute, which was started by the former founder of the NAIC? Do you see how all of this stuff ties together? Now you have Thomas Massey shaking hands and accepting money from organizations tied to Iranian lobby, while at the same time you have the Iranian lobby-backed Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari driving for impeachment of Pete Hegseth because he's so successfully operated an incredible operation in Iran to remove the globalist agent of chaos in the region. Do you see how this works, folks? Do you understand how this works?
Yep.
And for those who think that, pull up Attacks on Pete 3. For those of you guys that think that, and I saw Ansari is a common name, Iranian name. Yeah, that's true. It is. But only one Yasmin Ansari is this deeply connected to the NIAC, only one. She's had their support all the way throughout her entire political career, going all the way back to when she was running for the Phoenix City Council. This woman is, in fact, an Iranian lobbyist-backed U.S. Congresswoman. There's no arguing against that. That has been her primary base of support from the minute that she stepped into politics. So you should not be surprised to see her filing articles of impeachment.
Hold on. Does that mean that she might actually be working on behalf of the Iranian government?
I mean, I don't know if I can prove it, but you can look at the things she says and does, and it sure as hell looks like it.
I'm pretty sure that's a crime.
Sure as hell looks like it. So we had Pete Hegseth, we had Kash Patel, but the one that they're really going after is JD Vance. JD Vance is target number one for the globalists. Why? Because he's leading the negotiations with the political faction of Iran, trying to come to a resolution to kick out the crazy mullah faction of Iran and bring this operation to a halt. And they are trying to absolutely destroy him. Can you pull up? So there was a bunch of articles written. One of them in particular, I want to pull up just a small clip from the ladies over at Promethean Action, just to give you an example of who's behind the hit job that's taking place on JD Vance right now. Can you pull up Globalist JD Vance? Just so you understand.
Secret war on JD Vance.
Pause this real quick.
Last Tuesday, Edward Luce of London's Financial Times published a column.
Okay. So you just have to understand this. When you see hit pieces written against JD Vance, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, Donald Trump, these are all coming from the same sources. It just so happens that in the instance of the hit pieces that are coming out against JD Vance, they are literally coming from the belly of the globalist beast. And this is one of the ladies over at Promethean Action explaining the most recent one that came out of Financial Times. Now, I wanted to pull the Financial Times headline myself, but it's behind a paywall and it wouldn't even let me take a screenshot of it. So I'm going to allow her to explain it for you.
Yeah.
The secret war on JD Vance. Last Tuesday, Edward Luce of London's Financial Times published a column titled "The Ever-Shrinking JD Vance." Who is Edward Luce? Son of Richard Luce, Baron Luce, head of the royal household under Queen Elizabeth II. Before the FT, Ed Luce spent 2 years as speechwriter for Treasury Secretary Larry Summers in the Clinton administration. So London's man in Washington is the right description.
By the way, Larry Summers.
Secret war.
Larry Summers, didn't he just get dragged all over the place for being all up in Epstein's files? I bet he did. He sure did. I wonder if Baron Luce is in those too. Have we taken a look and see if we can find Baron Luce's name up in there in those files? Because Larry Summers is.
I'll look it up. Is it LUCE?
Yeah. LUCE. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, folks, just understand that the hits that you're seeing against the Trump administration right now are purposeful, and they are specifically designed to try to stop what they're working on right now. Oh, SK, I see that face.
Oh, I just opened my phone to go look it up, and I had a text message, and it's about that guy.
Which one? Baron Luce?
Meeting with Noam Chomsky in the Epstein files.
Of course. So you've got the Epstein-connected globalists are now out trying to destroy the Trump administration. Shocker.
Hold on, pause. I want to go back to what SK just said. You opened your phone and someone had sent you a message about Baron Luce meeting with Noam Chomsky. How did that happen?
Well, hold on. What time is it? Oh, it was before we even talked about it. That's how good they are.
Okay.
Oh, I'm getting more text messages as we speak.
Okay, so I'm assuming the girls. By girls we mean
it was Lisa. It was
Lisa and DR. That Lisa is already on top of what we were just talking about. Baron Luce and Noam Chomsky and Epstein. Oh, that's crazy.
Noam Chomsky's all over the place. That guy is bad news.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this former speechwriter for Larry Summers, who basically just had to resign his position at Harvard for inappropriate relationships with students, and one of the most prolific communicators with Jeffrey Epstein, his speechwriter is now out writing hit pieces against JD Vance, and that's not a globalist hit. Are you sure about that? Because it sure as hell looks like one to me.
Well, but it's also, again, UK, Bank of London, Bank of London, bankers, all that, all that stuff. A Baron Lucy, whatever his name is, from the UK. It's the same people running the same groups as Farmer, as Lord Farmer is, as the rest of them. Folks, this is...
Can we just like stop with the pretense and just like entirely extract ourselves from the relationship that we may have once had with Britain?
I mean,
extracted.
They provide absolutely nothing of value for us. I mean, MI6 maybe is some good intel, but I mean, they're somewhat proficient. But
it's time to cut the strings.
They spend too much time spying on us, so I don't know.
Cut the strings. Well, and I think one of the reasons why these guys, let's just kind of get to the point here. All right. There are pull up Solomon Election Save Act. So I saw this, I think this was actually on the Dan Bongino show. Was it today? I believe he interviewed John Solomon at the end of his show. And you got to hear what John Solomon is talking about. And then I have about a 4.5-minute video that I'm going to show you guys. I think this is the reason why you're starting to see the globalists react the way that they're acting right now. Almost like the end of the world is coming for them and they know it.
To lazy senators who want to threaten the filibuster and not get off their feet and talk and really represent the people and stand for what they believe in. And all the American people are asking John Thune to do is to restore the Senate to the way it used to work before Mitch McConnell's lazy filibuster ideas kind of came into play. And I think that the American people are going to be there. Here's what I think is going to happen, Dan. And I think you probably know some of this because you had a foresight into some of the things that the Bureau now knows that was kept from the American public. I think Donald Trump is going to change the narrative in America. I think he's going to change some senators' minds, and he's going to do it by revealing some of the things that Chris Wray and that the Chris Krebs and other major officials who were in charge of the integrity of our elections and who told us it was a perfect election in 2020. He's going to start revealing some of the intelligence that was kept from the American people. And we're going to see that our foreign adversaries have monkeyed with our system more than we knew, more than those driver's licenses coming into Chicago that you helped get all of us to understand about a few months ago, about China sending fake driver's licenses to help Joe Biden in. There are going to be significant efforts by foreign powers, some friends, some enemies, that were trying to meddle in the system, and they got pretty far down that path. And I think when senators realized their state could have been targeted, when senators realized that the intention of the identities of some of their voters might have been assumed, I think there's going to be a different debate in America. And I think if the president takes the time to educate people and show them that maybe the stories we got from the last leadership weren't true, I think he's going to pick off the votes. And then the American people are going to put some pressure on John Thune, and they're going to surgically implant a stiff back, and he's going to change that filibuster for this particular thing, make it a standing filibuster, make the Democrats talk till they drop, and then we'll get a vote in the summer. But I think there's some big, significant, and very troubling revelations about the vulnerabilities of our elections that the president is about to unveil on the American public. Now,
I need to clarify. It didn't say Barron. It said Bannon.
Oh, well, we know Bannon was all up in those things. We've known
it was
that.
Bannon meeting with Noam Chomsky. Chomsky.
Did you guys catch what he said? I mean, not the whole thing, but did you catch the part where he said that there is intelligence that has been hidden from the American people that show that not only our adversaries, but some of our friends were involved in the 2020 election? Who do you think those friends might be?
I'm just going to take a wild guess. I said the UK. I mean, I'm just guessing.
Do you think that maybe the UK is one of them? Do you think that maybe after we've seen this 180-degree pivot from Maloney over in Italy, do you think that maybe Italy might... their name might
so Italy, there was, I mean, election, the day after the election in 2020, there was a lot of talk about those things being flipped from Italy. So yes.
A lot of talk. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that it's possible that the NIAC-backed Iranian American congresswoman here in the United States might also be a little bit worried when they find out, when the American people find out what Iran was doing in our 2020 elections. Folks, I'm going to show you a 4.5-minute whistleblower video. I've done my best to try to validate this, and from what I can tell, it looks like it's legit. I'm going to say everything that you're going to see here is alleged, but Nom, I'd be really interested in your perspective of this as well, because this is right up your alley. So can you pull up that video? I know it's a little bit long. I'm hoping that it'll be able to play. And I hate playing videos this long, but you have to watch the entire thing. This is, I think, the reason why the globalists are in such a panic right now. And I think it's also the reason why you're seeing their tentacles all over the world reacting in a dead cat bounce, an extinction burst right in front of your face.
Is it fraud recording?
Yep.
Okay.
Real important here. This is an Iranian whistleblower. This just got dropped in my lap a couple days ago. I'm going to go through this very quickly. I apologize. We're going to rush through it. But this is actually real. This is the whistleblower actually connecting in through a special tool that can be downloaded for free on the internet, connecting to our voter registration database from where they are, pulling our records from the voter registration database. They're formatting them now into a nice format. They're copying and pasting. They're going to throw it right in here. So they have now extracted data from our voter registration database. This is in Alaska. Then they go to our government website to create a military ballot. And watch them take the information from our voter registration database. This is a video from their system, and they did this apparently in the 2020 election. You're watching them, and this is automated too. This is just slowed down to show manually doing it. This whole process can be very easily automated.
Now, wait a minute. I was told that the 2020 election was the most secure election in our lifetime.
I think this guy might disagree with you, actually. So there he is. He's selecting. There it is. Voting right now on the ballot.
So I want to pause this real quick.
System.
I want to pause it because one of the things that we were told and that we spent a lot of time talking about was the voter registration credit system, right? And listen, this is probably going to get demonetized on YouTube because
I think this is going to be a litmus test for YouTube to determine how long we stick around here if they allow.
Yeah, it will be a litmus test, right? Because so in the fallout of the 2020 election, one of the strategies that was identified as being used is what they call the voter registration credit system, and essentially what that means is candidates and political parties are able to see voter registrations. Now, they can't tell who you voted for, but they can tell when the last time you voted, how often you vote, what your propensity to vote is. Do you vote every election? Do you vote just presidential elections? Did you not vote for however long? So when you have dirty voter rolls, and they're also able to see, especially with early early voting and mail-in ballots and all these things, they're also able to see when a ballot has been returned. So they're able to see also the ballots or the voter registrations that have not had a ballot returned yet. So that basically is the credit system where they can use those voter registrations where there's no vote, or maybe that person moved, or that person's no longer alive, or they just haven't voted yet. Some people show up and they're like, "Oh, you already voted." No, I didn't. Well, now you got to do a provisional ballot. The reason why is because that credit system is actually being used for all of these mail-in ballots to be shoved in for all of those voters who haven't voted yet. That's how they figured out. That's basically what they're doing here.
Yep. All right. So this is an Iranian whistleblower recording his screen showing how they were doing this.
Manipulating our system from the outside. Just created the PDF ballot. There it is, all ready to go right into our system. And the clerks and election officials, they don't know any different. They don't know that it came from this guy. And I don't know if you saw, well, I'll show you this folder. Let's see if I can pause that real quick here. This is kind of important here. And that was another one. There we go. Oh, if I can get it here. Okay, look at that. I've got very little bit of time, so I'm going to go through this really quickly. Here's a folder of PDF ballots right there, a big folder of them. Okay, so I'm going to play the rest of it here. Okay, look at that. Colorado, Alaska. Look at all those states. There's 40 states of folders there. 134,728 PDF ballots sitting in the Alaska folder on this person's system. They didn't do just one.
Where did this video come from, and does does the federal government know about it?
I think they should know about it, and they're probably going to know about it real soon. This is the tool, SQL Map. It's a SQL injection tool to get into the back end of the database.
Yep, that's the thing.
it. You can download this tool online. It's used by hackers for penetration testing. This is what they used to get into our registration databases. This is real. Get rid of every single computer system that manages our elections. The only way to have free elections is to have 100% transparent.
Okay, he just spends the next minute or so talking about things that need to happen. So, folks, now think about that video, that whistleblower video, and then go back to listen to what John Solomon just told Dan Bongino today about how senators are going to be presented with the reality that this isn't just an isolated thing that happened in some states. It appears to have been happening in just about every state, and to the tune of hundreds of thousands of votes. Hundreds of thousands of votes. The fact that this information appears to be sitting in southern Florida right now as they're working on building their grand conspiracy case. Do you understand now why these people are so worried? Why these people are saying the dumbest, most outrageous things possible? It's because they have no choice.
Yeah.
The end is coming.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to dirty up any future indictments and prosecutions and basically say they're only indicting me. It's weaponized DOJ. They're indicting me because I've submitted articles of impeachment, or because we're going to win the midterms, or because we started our 25th Amendment commission. That's the only reason why these prosecutions are happening. No, what you are doing is trying to dirty up the process, and you're shoving in fraudulent process to protect yourself from the indictments are coming.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But the problem that they have is that it's not working.
No.
Because the biggest target of all of this is you. You are the target of this propaganda campaign. They know that they're not going to be able to slow down the wheels that are turning down in southern Florida and at the Department of Justice. They know that. They recognize they are not going to be able to stop accountability. So their goal is to get enough people on their side so that when accountability happens, there's doubt in their minds about whether or not what the Trump administration is doing is legitimate. So there's been some recent polling that have come out. One of the biggest areas of attack for them is in the Iranian conflict. They have to convince you, and I've been saying this over and over and over again, they have to convince you that we're losing this war. Now, do we have the, I don't know if we have it or not. Oh yeah, we do. We have finished one. There we go. So, you already have it up. So there's been some recent polling that have come out. This one came out from the McLaughlin group asking questions. This was just last week, April 8th to April 15th. Key findings, national poll. A majority of voters, 52%, approve of military action to eliminate Iran's nuclear and missile programs. 40% disapprove. Support is overwhelming among Republicans, 87%, but almost 30% among Democrats actually support what Trump is doing in Iran. Voters who watched President Trump's address directly support military action by decisive 67 to 29%. So what this tells you is that people who are getting all their information from the slot propagandist are in some cases being convinced, but not enough of them. Not nearly enough of them. After all of the hundreds of billions of dollars that have been spent to try to propagandize people online, 52% still support finishing the job in Iran. I put this one in here because I had somebody challenge me on this and say, well, the only people that still support Donald Trump are boomers and Zionists. I was like, well, that's weird because a poll just the other day shows that support has increased since last month and is especially strong among Republicans, independents, Hispanics, and women.
Yep.
It's
And what they're talking,
yeah,
and what they're talking about here, right, is 6 in 10 voters. So 60% of voters say the United States, we have to finish the job. You can't just walk away from this now. You can't walk away, leave the IRGC, as crippled as they may be, leave them in place. They've got to finish them so that you can prevent a future conflict, and you can prevent the IRGC from being able to use Strait of Hormuz as a weapon. You know, all the things that we talked about and did our victory lap on Friday over.
Yep. Nom, did you see, I know you were building a fence. SK, did you see that another lawsuit was filed against Act Blue today in Texas?
Yep. And did you see they pled the fifth for all their questions that they were asked?
Yeah. That's
also,
right.
Did you see the reason why Pete Hegseth is being targeted for impeachment and for everything else that he's been targeted for since he was announced for the pick for the Department of War?
Well, I just read the 5 things that they listed in the impeachment articles.
Oh, well, that a Republican has a new threat out as of 10 minutes ago.
Should we look at it?
We should.
Okay. Nom, I actually have, I'm going to grab the screen. I actually have.
Yeah, pull it up.
So I'm going in here blind, folks. We're going blind. I have no idea.
It's not bad. It's going to keep this train on the tracks, okay? You stop it, devil dog.
Devil dog.
All right, here we go. That's the Braver Angels one. Okay.
Nope. Keep going. Keep going.
This is the one that was just 3 minutes ago.
That's 3 minutes ago. This was a few minutes ago.
How many threads is she pumping these things out, man?
There it is. Right there. Right there.
Oh.
The true reason Pete Hegseth is being targeted is because he's standing between President Trump and a coup. Interesting. Hegseth named the institutions, CFR, Brookings, the general class in 37 seconds in a video by Liz Wheeler within 72 hours of his nomination. A Color Revolution planning document cited him as an insider threat. They didn't go after him because of drinking. They didn't go after him because of women. They went after him because every Color Revolution manual ever written says the same thing. You cannot topple a government unless the security forces defect. And a loyal Secretary of Defense is the one person who makes sure they don't. I have the receipts, their own documents, their own training sessions, their own words on camera. As always, patience as I pull this thread together. I want to see if we can get this audio to play. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
Let's call it the China virus and hold them to account for it. Trump threatened the international order, Council on Foreign Relations, Washington, D.C., Brookings Institute types. They were never told their wars were stupid or their generals were losers or that NATO didn't step up, that China would unleash a virus. So let's call it the China virus and hold them to account for it. All of those things were a calling out of an international order that was failing and is continuing to fail and now has a great advocate in the regime currently in the White House. And Ukraine, it's basically a fight Donald Trump by fighting Putin through Zelensky war. They finally found a war they just absolutely love. Trump threatened the international.
Yeah, we know that was an older video.
Okay, keep going. She says, this is not my theory. This is theirs. Erica Chenoweth and Maria Stefan, the 2 most cited scholars in the Color Revolution field, studied 323 regime change campaigns. They're finding security force defections make campaigns 46 times more likely to succeed. Keep going. Now, it gets better.
Could that be why we had an entire campaign from these folks telling the military that it's their constitutional duty to disobey orders? We had the Seditious Six come up with their video that they came up with.
You mean those people that are actually also associated with the CIA?
Yeah, those ones.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did co-author Maria Stefan do next? She became chief organizer of the Horizons Project, and on July 16, 2025, she trained New Kings participants on video. What's New Kings?
No Kings. No Kings.
It says new.
Well, it was a typo. It's No Kings. The No Kings protests. Yeah, that's where that came from. Also the same network we've been exposing this whole time. Wait till you get to my comment, but keep going.
130,000 people are told when you crack When they crack and the power within them shifts, the entire edifice can crumble. They equal security forces, not military. Yes, Stefan's teachings are now informing a mass American audience that it's how you break down a government. You have
Why
to
isn't this
turn
woman in
the
prison?
media.
Why is Maria Stefan not in
Oh,
prison?
This is treason.
I don't know.
This is
but
outright
wait,
treason.
But wait, because that thread I put out this morning about the abundance agenda.
Yep.
Wait until you see my comment, because fun fact, Ezra Klein, the co-founder of the Abundance Agenda, is also, the co-founder of No Kings, Indivisible Project, which is the organization that started No Kings protests. He's an abundist. He was a keynote speaker at the
An
Abundance.
abundist.
Yes.
These people just make up words.
Well, they changed the definition of words. Is that it? I think that's it, right? I went through the whole thing.
Yeah, but isn't
Okay.
that kind of
Holy
huge, especially
crap.
with what we were talking about?
It's crazy how these threads come together. I mean, I had no idea she was getting ready to put this out, but I'm noticing a drastic level of escalation of the panic among these people. And
if they don't have control of the law enforcement of FBI, they don't have control of the military. They're not able to get either of those to defect. That's exactly why they're going after Kash and Hegseth.
And the workers' unions and the
Are
students.
there still actually unions out there? What? I mean, it's 2026. Why?
Yes, the teachers' unions, all the workers' unions. Look at all the people that have been involved in all of these protests. You have to have the workers' unions, the student unions, the teachers' unions, the military. You can't have a color revolution without them.
Wow. Holy moly, man. I don't know why. I just all day today I felt like the pressure is mounting. These people are terrified something's coming. I didn't realize that she was putting that thread together. That's incredible. These people need to be in prison. These people are running a coup d'etat, a color revolution, an insurrection against our government, the government that you and I voted for, that we put into office. They're trying to topple it right in front of your face. And the fact that these people are not in jail yet is mind-numbing to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah, and then they'll complain about the 3-hour riot.
I said it's coming. TikTok. We got your number. We got the receipts.
If SK says they got the receipts, then they got the receipts. So, holy moly. And just imagine what the reason why they try to take out Pete Hegseth is because he's blocking the coup d'etat of the security forces. And the reason why they need to take out Kash Patel is because he's probably blocking the coup d'etat, the weaponization at the FBI. And the reason why they need to go after Pam Bondi and now Todd Blanche is because they're probably blocking the coup d'etat happening at the Justice Department. And the reason why they need JD Vance to...
Well, that coup d'etat at the Justice Department is just not prosecuting or not seeking indictments of the people who actually are running these coups, right?
And the judicial system, all of it, guys. It's all entrenched. It's all captured.
Well, I sure hope none of the Braver Angels people are swept up in that mess.
Well, but they are. I posted something right before we went live.
They are. Speaking of, SK had a pretty informative post earlier today on X that I think that we need to pull up because I think it's important for you guys to understand what's coming. Let me pull this in here as fast as I can and give her the floor to talk about this, because one thing that these lunatics on the left are really good at is redefining words. SK, take it away.
Well, I mean, I can't just start with the redefining words because I've talked about that a lot in the language manipulation. I just haven't put together an X thread.
You gave us a list.
Well, Lisa did. I just posted it. Okay. But yes, these are some of the things. The abundance agenda. She talked about that last time that she was on here, and we talk about it a lot. And I talked to you guys about distributing the resources equitably. Yep. That's what the abundance agenda is about. It's about allowing the corporations to be able to have the resources that they need. So all these resources that they're always talking about being scarce, they're not actually scarce. They're just scarce for you and me. They're abundant for the corporations that they need to do things like the AI data centers and for oil and gas production and, any corporate thing you can imagine. It's abundant for that. So when you start hearing the Democrats talking about cutting the red tape and making sure that these corporations can be able to do things quicker because people need jobs and we need to stimulate the economy and all of these things, make sure you pay attention to their language, because they are not talking about them. They are talking about limiting your resources. This is why lots of states have, smart meters, and they tell you when you need to turn your AC off for a certain number of hours during the day because you're using too much energy, or too much water because you have a smart water meter. And they're saying, oh, no, you're using too much water. Nom, you filled up your pool. You've used too much water this month. You can't use any more water because the AI data centers need that water, or the chip manufacturers need that water. So you can't use that water.
You're taking a bath in the pool tomorrow.
Yeah. But if you go to the beginning of the thread, it's really short. It's only like 3, I think, or 4.
Yeah, California's doing it already. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of places are. But there are some really important things in here, because the Amera stuff is in here as well. I kind of introduced that, but I started it with, when, I don't know how old you guys are, but if you watch Pee Wee Herman, there was always like a word of the day or a word of the show. And whenever that word would be said, he would do his little scream thing, right? After you start listening to these people talk, it's very clear which words you're supposed to be making that scream noise to. I don't even have to think about it. When I hear some of these words, it just gives me a visceral reaction.
Yep.
So I started it with saying the word of the day is abundance. It's because that word has been hijacked to mean something completely different than what you think, especially when it comes to how resources like water, raw minerals, land, etc., should be quantified and distributed. This abundance agenda, adopted by both rhinos on the right and Democrats on the left, will result in a reallocation of resources to advance growth in energy, technology, housing, and more, while the local citizens are told to conserve resources that they personally use. And then it says, one an example, Governor Cox, who recently keynoted the Abundance Agenda Conference, also Ezra Klein, co-founder of Indivisible Project, what we just looked at. And in one breath, he tells Utah citizens they need to have smart meters installed on the residences to tell them when they're using too much water, while in the same breath, he says water is abundant when it's being used to cool the servers in the AI data centers being installed in the state to surveil everything and everybody. It's the citizens who are restricted, not the industries that we want to grow. If you're confused why the leftists, who have traditionally been adamant for decades about the scarcity of resources and the need to use less of them, are on board with this abundance agenda, then listen. Since 1972, when the Club of Rome's Limits to Growth report came out, you can look that up, Club of Rome, Limits to Growth, the left have pushed that population reduction and curbing resource consumption was the only way to save the earth and everything in it from total collapse. They've done a 180 because this stance, much of it driven by unsubstantiated environmental claims that never came true, has been wildly unpopular politically, which is why many former Democrats flipped to vote for Donald Trump, and it has hurt their cities. So new projects that could have spurred economic growth and mobility in Democrat-controlled localities have been hampered by all sorts of regulations, while their citizens and companies continue to suffer the consequences of those choices. The fossil fuel energy industries on the right's pocketbook suffer from these regulations too. So what if both sides agreed on an agenda for growth that lifts those regulations so that the tech oligarchs on the left, who need resources for things like their AI data centers, and the oil and gas magnates on the right get what they want? And that's exactly what happened. So you have the left-right secret handshake taking place. And remember, when we're talking about this, this still fits into the big picture. We've talked about the bridging, the blocking, all this stuff. This is what the economic system that they want to put in place. When I talk to you guys about resources being distributed equitably and all of those things, keep that in mind. So there was a 2017 meeting where these oligarchs, including Soros and Koch, again, New Pluralists, IMIP, all the things we've been talking to you about, They got together and they shook hands to agree on the color revolution in America that would have 3 goals: stop Trump and the populist movement, install a new economy where both growth and equitable, not equal, redistribution could happen simultaneously, completely change the electoral and democratic systems and processes of America to ensure that there are people in positions of power that allow these first 2 goals to happen. And then this is what the abundance translates to. It means real estate development would be allowed to flourish, not for single family homes, but high density housing. Mining for raw minerals would bring industry back to cities, but those minerals would not enrich the people in the region, but the global economy. Public-private partnerships would ensure that where there was scarcity, resources would be allocated to ensure abundance according to equity. That means resources flow to groups both locally and globally who, according to the powers that be, are the most historically marginalized / oppressed, while those who are the racist bear the burden of reducing their consumption of resources. Those on
I
the
ain't
right,
reducing nothing.
yeah, those on the right, like the Club for Growth, are willing to relax on their idea of equality to settle for equity. And the left, like Silicon Valley, is willing to relax on their environmental stance as long as both sides continue to make money and are allowed to grow without any hindrance. Okay. So then we can move on to Lisa having an article coming out soon about the abundance agenda. And so again, the language of abundance, it's creeping into the Republican platform, which is why we made sure to get this thread out. Because if you have your Republican conventions in your state, your GOP conventions, some of them have already happened. And in these GOP conventions, they're using the word abundance. The right is using the word abundance, and they're talking about these things just like the left, which is bad news for everybody. So pay attention. So, and again, it sounds all good. You hear the word abundance and you think, who doesn't want the United States to be abundant? Who doesn't want people's resources to be abundant? They're not talking about you and me. Okay. If you hear the word abundance mentioned at all at any of your GOP conventions, pay close attention to what's being said and learn to read between the lines, ask questions, and have discernment when something like this that literally came out of California, actually California, but yes, shows up in red states like Utah or Oklahoma, and your life and liberty depend on it. These are the words that are being reframed to mean that a communitarian, that's another word they use. That's another word that we had out there with the Braver Angel stuff, because that's socialism and communism just rebranded to not sound as bad. So commutarian, also the word of the day.
We need to do a word of the day every episode where you could take one of these words and you define it for everybody.
So the commutarian society will be enforced where group, either local or global, needs overshadow individual rights and freedom. So let that sink in. This is about the group betterment of the group, collectivism. Okay. So the words abundance, dignity, resilience, thriving, well-being, flourishing, win-win, or omni-win democracy, win-win democracy or omni-win democracy, and a synergistic democracy. All these words just give me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh, geez.
What's wrong with communism? Hold on, real quick. What's wrong with Ro? So we got a troll in the chat, by the way. Ro Bear wants to know what's wrong with communism. Well, it doesn't fucking work. It never does. It never has. It never will. There's your answer. Leave us alone.
And I'll add to it before we get back to SK, because she's doing word of the day. I don't know, maybe ask the 200 million people over the last 150 years that are dead because of communism, what's wrong with communism? I don't know. It's a good place to start. SK.
Yeah,
finish.
but brain children, like smooth brains like Ro Bears, are the ones who's going to actually figure out how to do it. They're gonna be the ones to figure out how to implement it correctly. Get out of here.
But this is important because you guys have heard me say Ameris several times. I've even told you how to spell it so you can look it up, because there are documents going back all the way to like at least the 80s. But these same people are the old people in these groups having these conversations, and they're helping to plan and organize all these people. So look up Ameris, because the end goal of all of this is an economy that blends the substance rights of Russia with the process rights of America, or democratic socialism.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they can take that shit and shove it up their asses. No thanks. Not playing.
Hey, listen, folks, if you're going to troll the chat, can you get here a little early? We're done. Like,
yeah, party's over, man. Show's over.
If you're going to show up, we go live at 9:30 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you want to troll, you got to get here early. You can't show up at the very end of the show and expect us to be able to toy with you the way we want to. So show up early. SK, you have a job. You're going to bring a definition for a word of the day every episode until you get through them all, because the abundance one was awesome, but I'd love to hear you define each one of those.
I'd like the next one to be smooth brain retard. Can we get a definition?
Yeah,
and let's just put a picture of Greg H740 next to it.
Greg.
Smooth brain retard.
It's definitely Greg.
Okay.
All right, folks. I think that's it. We still have more in the Dropbox, but we're at 2 hours and 6 minutes, so we'll maybe loop that stuff in on Wednesday. We will see you Wednesday night, 9:30 Eastern. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, because I'm sure the entire media cycle will have changed 3 or 4 times before then. Although I do have, and Guarding the Grid's not here, but GTG has been sending me some new music that he's been writing and performing and composing, and it's fantastic. So I want his permission to share some of it with you. He wrote me specifically a song, and I think he actually wrote a worship song, which is really good. I made my kid listen to it, and he loved it. So anyway, maybe we'll share some of that with you guys later this week if he gives me the go ahead to do it, but it's fantastic. It's good stuff. Thrilled anytime someone sends me a song. It's like, hey dude, I wrote this for you. And I'm like, what? You did what? It was pretty cool. Anyway,
it's very good. It is a very good song. I think everybody would like it. Maybe you should play it as the outro.
I don't have it prepared. I don't have it queued up, and it's basically just an MP4. It's not like there's no video or anything to it, so I don't have anything to go with it yet. So we'll work on that. Hope you got something out of this. We will see you on Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week, and later, y'all.
Good night, guys.
In the shadows of the Capitol, they're scheming in the night, selling out our freedoms for a pocket full of spite. From the border to the heartland, the war